it's kind of weird that we fall back into things that we've done for a long time. And when Deshaun Watson came to the Cleveland Browns and we all had these ideas of where we would go and get in the playoffs and potentially go win a championship, the one thing, Ryan, that I thought we would avoid would be a quarterback discussion and who our starting quarterback is going to be. Now, there was certainly that debate, maybe with his play and how he got hurt. We thought we got past that, but oh no, here we are yet again, that the Cleveland Browns are entering a stretch run of December, and there's a question on who's your starting quarterback. Now, people say that that's not a question because they already have their answer, and they know who they're going to go with. But it's just funny that things that are unavoidable, it seems, sometimes with the Cleveland Browns, are debates on the quarterback, and I think we have another one on our hands. People don't want to say that. They think they know who the starting quarterback for the Browns the rest of the season is going to be. Is it going to be Joe Flacco? Dorian Thompson-Robinson's got to get out of concussion protocol. Did Flacco show you enough on Sunday to get the rubber stamp approval? He's starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns the rest of the year, no matter what. I think we're still kind of looking back on that game and saying, yeah, he played all right. I still think there's some intrigue with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, though. And we're not the only team now with quarterback problems. Holy cow. The NFL has a serious problem on their hands with injuries in the quarterback. We know Trevor Lawrence went down last night. We'll talk about that, getting ready for the Browns. We got power rankings, surprise player for the Browns, and we'll talk a little college football as well right here on a 2 for Tuesday. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning. Happy to have along here on a Tuesday. Got a lot of football to get to today. We will talk a lot of Browns. Get to our 2 for Tuesday. Big video game news. Grand Theft Auto trailer is out. Happy day for everybody. It broke a YouTube record, Ryan, for the most watched non-music video in day one of YouTube history.
Yeah, man. I think in the first, it was like either 30 minutes or an hour. It had over 2 million likes. Not views.
Not views, likes. So people are very excited. That'll be a part of our 2 for Tuesday, which we'll get coming up. Marvin Harrison Jr., rightly so, a Heisman finalist. I don't feel good. I'm on a typical bet on that futures bet, but he's there. We'll see how that goes. We got time up, and I'm remiss. We got so tied up yesterday. We're going to do the bracket this week, and in honor of the Rolling Stones coming to Cleveland next year, best classic rock band. Now, you and I could fill this out on our own, Ryan, and frankly, it's all but filled out. I think we have 4 openings. That's it. So right now, we got the Stones, Zeppelin, AC/DC, The Who, Kiss, Pink Floyd. I put the Beatles in there. I hate the Beatles. I don't think they're very good. I mean, it's one of those things. I would say I respect what the Beatles were and who they were. Not a big fan of their music, so we only have a couple open slots. So tweet it at Matt Fontana Show, at Matt Fontana 83, and of course at Ryan Tyler 33. Drop us a follow across all platforms there. We'll get to our bracket a little bit later as well, and we'll talk Trevor Lawrence because I think it's pretty clear and obvious. I don't think he's going to play this weekend, but we'll get to that coming up. Sorry. Schefter test showed. I was like, ooh, Trevor Lawrence. No, it was Ramondre Stevenson. He's out for a couple of weeks, too. Dude, did you see that stat for this weekend? Of the 7 AFC playoff teams, they're going to be starting 4 backup quarterbacks this week if Trevor Lawrence can't go. If you got to face C.J. Beathard, you're going to have the Jags with a backup, the Browns with a backup, the Colts with a backup, and now the Steelers are going to have to go to Mason Rudolph or Mitch Trubisky because Kenny Pickett's going to be out. So, late season injuries, dude. And I know, Browns fans I don't have a lot of patience for it because we've dealt with it as much as anybody has. And somebody tweeted at me because I sent a tweet that, Lawrence got hurt, Browns are waiting. Somebody goes, that's where your mind went? Yeah. I'm a Browns fan. I don't really care about Jacksonville. And if I get a little easier game, which may be the case, especially if Christian Kirk is hurt too, we'll see on that. But we'll get into that coming up. 2 for Tuesday, though. Would you rubber stamp? Would you just make Joe Flacco the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns moving forward? Now, of course, Stefanski was asked about it yesterday, and Coach said, I'm not making any decisions on a Monday. They want to see Dorian Thompson-Robinson clear concussion protocol, and they're not going to ever make an announcement or make a decision until they really have to. But we sit here today, Ryan, and I know people are going to look at that question, and it's going to be overwhelming Joe Flacco. I think it is. I am really interested to see really what the percentage is. I mean, I think we're talking 80-20, something like that. But I want to see where Browns fans are at with Joe Flacco. And I understand that's the easy thing to do right now. He looked pretty good. Would you say pretty good, good, above average?
I'd say above average.
Above average, not pretty good? Okay. So pretty good, above average for a guy that hadn't played all year and brought what you expected him to bring. Veteran presence, accurate, stayed in the pocket, clean pocket for him for the most part in that game. Couple sacks late, but it is what it is in the interception. So you're going to lean to Joe Flacco because that's the comfortable thing. I understand that. You feel better about Joe Flacco because that's the comfortable thing. My reasoning for Dorian Thompson-Robinson is at this point, you might need to get a little uncomfortable. I'm assuming we're not going to have Amari Cooper for this game. And even when he was in there, it's pretty much just Amari Cooper. The Browns have playmaking problems right now. And I thought Dorian Thompson-Robinson was ascending and getting better. So much so that a lot of people agreed with me following that Baltimore game to say, I'm fine with him being the starter for the rest of the year. And then he gets hurt, and now people have completely flipped. I just ask people, if you were a believer in Dorian Thompson-Robinson a couple of weeks ago, what changed? Nothing changed for him other than the fact that he got hurt. And you saw Flacco go in there and do it a little differently. But you still lost the football game. Some of that was on the defense, certainly, and some of the things were the deficiencies that the Browns can do on offense. Like with where the Browns are at, I need to get a little uncomfortable. And you might be saying, well, that's too much of a risk. You are in the playoffs as it is today. You control your own destiny. Let's go with the comfortable thing. That would be yet another reason that I would start Dorian Thompson-Robinson. You can always go back to Joe Flacco. I don't think this is a two-way street where if you start Flacco and then if you got to go back to DTR, based on play, not due to injury, okay? We know injuries can happen. I'm talking about play, where I have a little more intrigue to throw DTR back in there when healthy and see what he has, knowing that I have the comfortable safety net. I have the comfortability of throwing Joe Flacco in there if I need to. And this is also not a game that I need to play like the Jets are playing with Zach Wilson. What do you mean he doesn't want to play? Did you see that yesterday? Put that in the morning update if you don't mind, coming up at 10 o'clock. Right? Robert Saleh had to come out yesterday and say that Zach Wilson was not reluctant to play, even though there were reports that they went to him and he goes, nah, I'm good. I'm good. And this is not a high draft pick that you're worried about their psyche or how they can handle this. It's a pretty straightforward thing. The Browns have to win games on the way out here, and we are going to play the quarterback that gives us the best chance. Joe Flacco is the safe one. Joe Flacco is the comfortable one. With how the Browns offense looks with void of playmakers, I think I'm a little intrigued to go with the guy that might be able to make some more plays. And they're doing it differently. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he's not Lamar Jackson. He can move the pocket a little bit. He can escape a little bit. And those are elements that I also think fit this offense better. As I come up with the reasons, and I fully admit that I know it's going to be Flacco. I know people are going to vote that way, and I feel like the Browns are probably leaning that way. I'm making the case this morning to start Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and I think it's a case that people need to hear. This offense was built for a quarterback more like Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And I'll give credit to Kevin Stefanski and Joe Flacco for coming up for a game plan for last week, and a game plan that was okay. That opening drive was beautiful. But Ryan, I am not just throwing away the idea of starting Dorian Thompson-Robinson. People are a little shell-shook still, I think, in dealing with the Watson injury and where we're at, and there's debates with Deshaun Watson that I will not have this morning. Who gives a damn where he sits to watch a football game? Seriously? there are fans out there that are concerned that a guy that just had major shoulder surgery in a week that I watched was it a down marker guy get his fractured fibula when he got run into. You had the Philadelphia Eagles director of security get thrown out of a game for running into Dre Greenlaw, and you wanted Deshaun Watson on the sidelines? Is that where we're at right now? There's a group of Browns fans that don't feel right unless there's dysfunction and drama. You talk about comfortability. Some Browns fans have a level of comfortability of bitching and moaning about dysfunction and drama. And they're trying to create this, Deshaun Watson wasn't on the side. Ryan, I've been doing this job not as long as some people. I've been doing this job quite a little bit. It's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. That is one of the stupidest things that I've ever heard people get upset about on social media or even talk. Like, that is, you know what? I apologize for even giving it some time here on the show. That is completely asinine to spend 2 seconds. You want to know what I want to spend time on? Who is our starting quarterback? Who the hell are you going to throw the football to? Is this defense going to get fixed up? Is Denzel Ward coming back? How hurt is Myles Garrett? No, you know what, Ryan? Bad look, Deshaun Watson wasn't on the sidelines with his teammates. He wasn't wearing Browns gear. God forbid. Holy cow. They just search for it. They search for the drama and the dysfunction, and it's just absolutely insane. Back to Flacco versus DTR. With Flacco, he played well enough to win that game, right? Would you and I agree that he had a game good enough to go win? It was everybody else that kind of faltered a little bit?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to need is Joe Flacco to step up because it wasn't good enough, right? He played well enough to win the game but didn't. So when I look at an offense that doesn't have those playmakers, that I'm going to look at my quarterback and say, you have got to make something out of this, I think the ceiling for Joe Flacco to do that is only so high. He's delivering good footballs. If guys aren't catching them and guys aren't getting yards after the catch, then that is the limit of what Joe Flacco can do. Well, you can really stretch the field. With who? Marquise Goodwin is still hurt. Elijah Moore is really your only deep threat at this time. That then also hurts what Joe Flacco can do. I flip it over to Dorian Thompson-Robinson. You bring the RPO game. You bring getting out of the pocket, moving. That is the stuff that makes it dicey. Those are the things that stretch a defense. If you don't have a quarterback that's just standing in the pocket and ripping it and all that kind of stuff, then you need to be able to make plays with your feet. And I'm not saying that Dorian Thompson-Robinson is strictly a running quarterback. He's not that. And I know he's still a rookie. He's still a rookie. I don't want that part of this loss too. You are putting a rookie in a situation with 5 games to go, and you got to win 3. I get the comfortability again with Joe Flacco. But I'm looking at it, if I was calling plays, if I was scheming things up for the Cleveland Browns, I'd rather have Dorian Thompson-Robinson there. I think you can do more with him. Is there a step back from the deep ball with Flacco? Sure. But the things that I believe Dorian Thompson-Robinson can do, I'd rather see that. And it goes back to one of my strongest points on this. You can always go back to Flacco. If you start Joe Flacco and then you go back to Dorian Thompson-Robinson, at that point, Ryan, I'm assuming the season's over, right? And I don't want that to happen. And really, there's a world that it frankly shouldn't be. As we play the schedule game, we talk about the playoff percentages. You really should be in this every week until it's done. And the 10 wins are the important number, and you need 3. And you could say, well, Matt, what if you just come out and lose your next 3? Well, at that point, I'm seeing what the rest. But I guess I have some faith that they're going to be able to somehow get a win in one of these 3. You have to. You don't have a choice. You got to get a win against Jacksonville, which seems a little bit easier now, Houston, or Chicago. And then you're live to go to Thursday Night Football against the Jets. Again, I keep just seeing Aaron Rodgers videos, and wouldn't that be something if he came back and somehow played in that game? And then the Bengals, who, by the way, showed the hell up last night, didn't they? Jacksonville is so Jekyll and Hyde, man. Like, I've wagered on them all year, and I've made comments about Trevor Lawrence, but, dude, they play to their opponents, and I think they played down to Cincinnati last night. Am I taking a little away from Cincinnati? Yeah, probably, because that was an ugly football game, a real ugly game. And Zach Taylor was thanking his lucky stars, great 311 song, when he got on that plane that they won that game, because if not, they'd have been pitchforking out front of their facility about, you ran a reverse or double pass to Tyler Boyd when Jake Browning didn't even have an incompletion yet. Bad job out of Zach Taylor. But now even the Bengals, is that just such the winnable game? I'm intrigued enough to see Dorian Thompson-Robinson. That's where I'm at this morning. I'm intrigued enough to get him to the start. And I'll do this. Let's go. Let's set our second 2 for Tuesday. I got a lot more that I want to talk about with the Jags game coming up. We'll get to Kevin Stefanski sound on Flacco and Myles Garrett, and we'll also do the surprise player for the Cleveland Browns. They did this on ESPN this morning, power rankings on where the Browns are at. I can only imagine that we have fallen a few spots. And their surprise player of the year, and we'll talk about some of that coming up in a little bit. But our second 2 for Tuesday, as always, 2 questions, 2 answers. First up, would you name Joe Flacco the Browns starting quarterback for the rest of the season? Ryan, cast your vote on that.
Yeah, I would. I'd like to see Joe Flacco the remainder of the season, if I'm being honest with you. I think, well, I would probably reconsider if Amari Cooper isn't able to go. I like the argument of DTR and possible, like, his ceiling is certainly higher than Flacco's, especially this late in Flacco's career. I just don't know how far DTR is really capable of getting to that ceiling the rest of this season. And we just have so really limited games to get to that 10 wins. Not saying that starting DTR would be potentially wasting one, but if it doesn't work out, it would kind of suck to have that foresight.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. And another reason why maybe you start him, you see what the intrigue is. I'll tell you this. Give him the half. Roll him out there Sunday. And if he's not sharp or if he's not it, I assume that Dorian Thompson-Robinson understands the situation that we're in. And he is going to have an extremely short leash. That's where we're at. And that's kind of my thing. Flacco will always be there. He'll always be there and be available. I think Dorian Thompson-Robinson can bring some extra things. The 2-quarterback system, which is kind of what I'm pitching here, to be like, oh, just start Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Go back to Flacco if you need to. I know that 2-system quarterback thing doesn't work, and they have to come up with a game plan, and they're going to game plan for one or the other. So I understand that. But, yeah, I mean, the Browns, it's the best of a bad situation. And now the rest of the league is feeling that. They're all sitting there going, man, are we really going to have to win with C.J. Beathard? And, I mean, the nice thing about the Jags, they're in a position where they can sit Trevor Lawrence for a couple of games. They probably only need one or more. Or, well, what are they at, 8? Are they 8-4?
Jags are 8-4.
8-4. And they, oh, man, Houston's probably right on their butts, aren't they?
They're
2 games
7-5.
back. Yeah, oh, okay. So they really can't afford that either. They're going to have to sit Trevor Lawrence. I don't think there's any way he's playing in this game coming up. But anyway, I'm clearly voting no. I'm not ready yet to put the rubber stamp on Joe Flacco, but let's talk about that coming up. Second 2 for Tuesday, 2 questions, 2 answers in honor of Grand Theft Auto. Sorry, Ryan, you got to wait till 2025. Do you feel bad? Was that too much of a tease? Everybody was waiting for this trailer. I felt bad because it was supposed to come out at 9 a.m. this morning, got leaked yesterday.
Well, I don't understand why people are upset because I didn't think there was any way in hell it was going to be released before 2025. They did the same thing with GTA 5. They released the trailer. It didn't come out for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, I knew that was what it was going to be.
So I know there's people upset, but for all you gamers out there, our second one, Xbox or PlayStation? Xbox or PlayStation? Oh, we didn't put gaming PC. Sorry, Nintendo, you're not in there, but it's Xbox or PlayStation. I have owned both of them. PlayStation 2, and I know it's the number 1 selling gaming console of all time, or at least was. Like, it was mad. PlayStation 2 was insane for the early 2000s, I get it. So we went through quite a few of those in Fontana household. I had a PS4, and I bought it from a buddy cheap just so I could play the show. But my answer is Xbox. I've always been Team Xbox. I had the original one. I had an Xbox 360, and I currently game on an Xbox One. So I've had PlayStations, but I'm Team Xbox. And it was really because I loved Halo. So that was the big debate when you had to pick a system. Did you want to play Halo or did you want to play the show? because those are the two that only win. Now, you have the show on Xbox. Halo's still only on Xbox. It's not on PlayStation yet. So I've always been Team Xbox. I've had both. I appreciate, each side of it. And I'm over the age of 30, so I really should probably grow up and just get a gaming PC. That's what all my friends have. That's what all my buddies said. Just get a gaming PC. Grow up, man. What are you doing? Not quite there yet. Maybe one day. So I'm Team Xbox. Ryan, cast your vote. Xbox or PlayStation?
I'm Team PlayStation. But
Okay.
I'm in the same sense of you as that I was originally Xbox. But then I switched to PlayStation. I mean, they both have their perks. Like PlayStation, the AAA games are like much better, the ones that are specifically for Sony and PlayStation systems. But I mean, the Xbox kind of was a better, more social console. I like the hub more, like the Xbox Live chats, the parties. I think they had that going for them. But then again, like I know me and you both like Call of Duty. I know I'm pretty sure Black Ops was like big favor for PlayStation. Like they got it released before like Xbox.
That's all. I mean, that's all the thing. Now that's gone because Xbox, Microsoft bought PlayStation or bought Call of Duty. So now there's been, for all the gamers out there, I know it's a little techie, but there's been a lot of conversations with Xbox buying Call of Duty, and they're like, no, we're not going to take, like, basically everybody's going to get the game at the same time now. It's not, we're only going to give it to Xbox now. Like, there's billions of dollars.
There's just too many PlayStation exclusives that are amazing for me to vote Xbox.
Fair enough. And then there's the controller debate. I will tell you that I think the PlayStation controller is better.
Yeah.
Better.
So, yeah.
And I have the Xbox, but I have the fancy dancy one. I've got the paddles and all that kind of stuff. So, but I get people that say PlayStation strictly on the controller. All right, vote on that. We'll update both of those, as we go on. So Trevor Lawrence goes down last night, and that ankle injury, I mean, it looked pretty bad. And after the game, here's the latest update that we have from after the game. That with trainers, he got put in a walking boot. He was walking around, but putting not very much weight on that foot, and he had to get on a cart to have it ride him out of the stadium to get in his car and go home. Short week number 1 for Jacksonville. I'm assuming they're right back to work today because they got to travel up here on Sunday to play the Browns. And high ankle sprains can require surgery. Kenny Pickett had that done yesterday. There's no way Trevor Lawrence is playing this game. It would be a miracle if he played in this game come Sunday. So now you're staring C.J. Beathard down. And had moments of brilliance in that game, we'll see. But you're also probably going to be without Christian Kirk. Do you see what I saw this morning on Christian Kirk? So there's all these football doctors out there. And I tread those waters so lightly because they're just assuming things on what they saw. They didn't see MRIs. They haven't examined these players. But one of the new areas of sports journalism is the medical side of things. And one of the football doctors this morning, just on a guess, just watching Christian Kirk, said he might have a testicular torsion, which is a very serious thing. You can die from that. And I was like, it just sounds painful. Now, if he truly had that, I don't think he would have left the facility. You need to go get surgery to fix that. So I saw it. I was like, these doctors are just grabbing at straws. I'm surprised. And I mean, we got part of it, but with Miles' shoulder, that all the doctors come out of the woodwork and they go, there's a good chance he tore this, or there's a good chance he hurt a whatever. I don't have much time for any of that kind of stuff. But yeah, you're going to be without Christian Kirk and Trevor Lawrence, me projecting that you're going to be without him. Now, the issue is that Evan Ingram had a great game, and we know the Browns uncovering a tight end. They still have Zay Jones. They still have Calvin Ridley, but it is going to be C.J. Beathard. And how that changes things, which when we get the schedule in the offseason, we all play the schedule game. And you're like, all right, win here. Oh, that's going to be a tough game, loss here. Think about how this season played out. Did anybody really think we were going to beat the 49ers? Probably not. And then everybody chalked up Thursday Night Football. Be like, that might be a tough game with the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. And now you're staring down the barrel of that being a must-win. Here we are with the Jags. Just yesterday, I was talking, I'm like, that's going to be a really hard game to play. Now, the light in the tunnel became a little brighter. And I don't wish injuries on anybody. I say that truthfully. And if you do that, you shouldn't do that. That's bad karma. And there's teams I dislike, but I don't root for injury. In the NFL, they've had quite the injury bug this year. And even with Lawrence going down, that wasn't that hip tackle. You know how they're trying to outlaw that? He got stepped on by his own guy. And now the rash of quarterback injuries, they already had set the record for the most rookies to start. Now you got backups aplenty. I'm not going to apologize for that. It sucks that it happened. And truthfully, I'd rather play I'd rather play Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence. But that's not the scenario, and I'm missing all these players. All right, even the game out just a little bit. And for the Browns, who are facing C.J. Beathard, do you want to know the other thing I first thought of when I was just compiling the game and thinking about it a little bit? You have got to have Myles Garrett right for this game. You have a backup, career backup. You need to get in his face, and you need to put his ass on the ground. Myles with the shoulder. Can we pull the sound up quickly, please? Thank you. Kevin Stefanski was asked about Myles Garrett because really the stat line was nothing. Didn't even register a tackle. He's fighting through the shoulder injury. The question to Coach Stefanski yesterday is him playing through that injury, and also, what was the level of not recording? Okay, here's the question. He didn't record a statistic. Was it more of the injury or the fact that he was getting double teamed all the time? Here's Kevin Stefanski yesterday, sound courtesy of the Browns.
It's all part of it. Myles has gotten attention probably since the very first snap of his career. That's just how it works. Teams are always going to slide to him. They're going to put tight ends over there, running backs. And he knows that. He fights through it. They did a good job yesterday. Tip your cap to them. And then it always, as you know, it opens up plays for guys, and we expect them to make plays when they have a one-on-one.
Hello, yes, Zadarius Smith, Obo Okara, anybody. So that, just ripping apart what Kevin Stefanski had to say, he didn't make the injury the part of it. He said they did a good job of taking him out of the game. Now, the problem is when Myles is 100%, that sometimes doesn't matter. We've seen the tape and the video of him beating triple teams before, and everything every team does, he somehow is able to ascend over it. If that is the impact of the injury, if he can't play to that level, but they're still giving him the double teams and giving him the attention, for the love of God, I need somebody else to step up. I need somebody else to get a pass rush on this team. And when you're facing C.J. Beathard, that is it. That's it right there. I can talk about Denzel Ward coming back, MJ Emerson and Greg Newsome. I saw this somewhere this morning. When you looked at the advanced metrics on PFF, they actually limited Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp on Sunday. Puka had that one long catch on Sione Takitaki, and Juan Thornhill gave up a couple. So, we were critical of MJ in the corners, but you're still facing Zay Jones and Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley's an extremely underrated wide receiver. He's very good at what he does. He is. Gambling thing aside, what a trade for Jacksonville. What a fleece from the Jags. You're telling me that the Atlanta Falcons right now couldn't use Calvin Ridley on their team? Good trade on their part. But you're going to need Denzel Ward and all those guys to step up and try to blame. And then, here's Evan Ingram. Good luck with that. Dude, he's so fast for a tight end. He is so fast. Dynamic. You limit all that by getting a pass rush. And yes, I'm going to change my expectations for Myles Garrett because he's fighting through this injury. Do I want Myles out there if he can go? Yeah. And I know that debate is on if he should sit and if a week will help him or not. If he can play, and I know he guts through it as much as anybody, and that guy's a warrior. He's going to get out there and play. I need him out there. And I think he's going to go. And the impact that it has, the same thing with Jim Schwartz. You now know Myles Garrett's not himself right now. And maybe in the Rams game, Jim Schwartz didn't know to the exact extent of what Myles was going to do. You know what I'm saying? Where Jim Schwartz was planning up and getting ready for the Rams, I'm sure he was game planning that Myles will be able to give me level, to whatever level, and he couldn't. So now I'm assuming Jim Schwartz will go into this Jacksonville game and say, whatever level I think Myles is going to be at, I'm knocking it down. I'm knocking that down. Anything Myles gives you Sunday is a bonus. I'm assuming he's going to play. Anything he gives you is a bonus. You got to come up with something else. And if that's blitz pressure to get after C.J. Beathard, if that's, that would be the easy answer. I know Jim Schwartz likes to blitz and play man. That's what he likes to do. And when you're missing your best man cover corner, that's going to be a problem. Assume that Myles Garrett will give you nothing on Sunday and figure something else out. And I'm looking real hard, frankly, at Zadarius Smith. You know, I put on Obo Okoronkwo too. He's probably not getting a lot of sleep. He's got a newborn. Congratulations to him. I know that life, man. And Dalvin Tomlinson and Shelby Harris and all those other guys. Zadarius Smith. I should have looked this up earlier. Can you, can I indulge some people here real quickly on Zadarius Smith? And I'm not trying to rip the guy. I like Zadarius Smith. He's fine. But you know what I'm pulling up right now, right? His game log. Oh, my God. Oh, man. All right. Zadarius Smith. Rams game. 1 tackle. Assisted tackle. Denver game. 1 solo tackle. Pittsburgh. 2 solo tackles. Baltimore. 4 tackles, including a half a sack. In 4 games, I have 8 tackles from Zadarius Smith and a half of a sack in 4 games. What is that? Now, granted, he only has 2.5 sacks on the season. This is one of the things that really has annoyed me about the Browns over the last couple of years. They tried it with Clowney. They tried it with Olivier Vernon. They're trying it now with Zadarius Smith. You have a generational pass rusher, and you have not gotten anybody to help him. You signed Obo Okoronkwo. I think he's a good rotational guy. And I'm not trying to ask for Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt, okay? I'm not asking for Chase Young and Nick Bosa. Not asking for Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. Those would be all nice things to have. And you got the 1 good year out of Clowney. You got 1 semi-good year out of Olivier Vernon. It's trending right now. Zadarius Smith's going to come in under expectations. That is one giant miss that the Browns have had. And I know they've been limited with draft picks, and they've had issues on offense, and they've tried to appease it in other ways. And Myles is good enough to kind of do some things on his own, but you just have wasted so much time of finding him a running mate and finding somebody else to go and play that position. And it's been something, it's not on the forefront for me. It's not high on my list, but that's something that just, that grinds on me. It's weighed on me for years. And I hope they can do something about it because, again, let's call it for what it is. Myles Garrett's career is about half over, right? Probably. Somewhere around that.
Yeah,
he's the one now, 6th
7?
season?
Yeah.
17 on now. Here we are, 7th season. And I don't know how many years he's got left. And you're going to sit there, and I know I think Myles Garrett's a Hall of Famer. I don't think there's any debate about that. I'd like him to win a DPOY. I know that hurt a little bit this year. But, yeah. Imagine, it's not quite to the LeBron level because LeBron eventually found all his teammates, but it feels like LeBron the first time he was in Cleveland. Here's a guy that can do everything, that he's so good, and he's got nobody to help him. Myles Garrett doesn't even have an Eric Snow out there to help him out. What's Sasha Pavlovich up to these days? He doesn't even have that on the other side of it. And that's where now that Myles is a little banged up, you have nothing. Nothing over there. Your issues like that, you don't think about it. I know a lot of people out there, you have not thought about that in a long time. And I'm sure the Browns, I'm not saying that they didn't try to address it, but they've missed it. And now when you have injuries and things like that, what happens? Your weaknesses get exposed. You get put out there. You get the spotlight put on some of these things when Myles Garrett's not 100%. And he's not. And the Browns have nothing. Nothing on that pass rush. And you're facing a backup quarterback. Again, I assume facing a backup quarterback come Sunday, you're going to make things easy for him. That's going to be my big message all week. I'm going to start it right now. We'll probably debate it tomorrow. We'll talk about it all week. Do not sleep on Jacksonville. They might rule out Christian Kirk and Trevor Lawrence at some point. I'm not sleeping on them for a second. Not for a second. Because we have our own deficiencies and issues. I talk about it a lot when we pick our favorites on Typical. Do I trust this team to cover? Even with CJ Beathard, do I trust the Browns to beat him? I do not. So don't sleep on this game come Sunday, no matter what happens. All right, let's catch a break. When we come back, we're going to update our 2 for Tuesdays, which are up. Oh, we're also getting a lot of suggestions for our bracket. Sean tweets, Beatles, Queen. A lot of Creedence. Creedence Clearwater Revival. Zeppelin, Skinner, Bad Company, Pink Floyd, Aerosmith. I appreciate you, Sean. I'm a big Bob Seger fan. Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. I like Bob Seger. The Doors. Damn it, I forgot about Tom Petty. We're not going to be able to do 16 on this.
He was the music in the GTA trailer.
Did you hear that? Yeah. I like that. Yeah. So our bracket is do you want to run through you want me to run through everybody who we have so far? Rolling Stones, AC/DC, Rush, Zeppelin, The Who, Kiss, Floyd, Guns N' Roses, The Doors, Eagles, Beatles, and Queen. Okay. The other thing, somebody tweeted this morning. I'm old like Travis and Roberto on Twitter. I'm not putting Pearl Jam and Nirvana in this. For my own sanctity, for my own mental health, I'm not putting Nirvana in this. I'm not putting Pearl Jam. Old school classic rock is where we're at this morning. So, do you have one that you want to make it? Appreciate you, Dan. He tweeted there. I got a text here. He goes, "Thank you for saying you hate the Beatles. They suck. They're not good.
They don't suck.
Okay, I get what the Beatles were and the Beatlemania and all that kind of stuff. How many songs do they have that you actually, man, this is a jam right here?
I mean, anybody who has that much hype and is that renowned worldwide is gonna be
Can
overrated.
I say something real quick?
I mean, yeah.
The hype, they could have put out John Lennon just tapping on a microphone. This is the greatest thing I've ever heard because it was so hype.
Yeah. So anything.
I'm crap. We're anti-Beatles. And I put him in there. I'm not going to vote for him, but I put him in there, so it's fair. I'm staring down Skynyrd, Creedence. Damn, I want to put Bob Seger into this. The Doors are making it. That is no question. They're already in there. Oh, I didn't finish reading all the ones. Did I say the Doors? I did say the Doors. They're in. Doors are my dad's favorite band. They're one of mine, so they're making it. I think of 4 spots left. I'm thinking Skynyrd, Creedence, Tom Petty's got to be in there. Can you throw Petty in? Yeah, put Skynyrd in, put Petty in, put CCR in. We'll leave the last one open. That's going to be your Aeros. Damn, we're not going to put Aerosmith on this.
I mean, there's so many.
I know. We'll have this coming up, and we might have spoiled this a little bit, but I do this every March because the bracket really came out from March Madness, right? And everybody loves doing a bracket and all that kind of stuff. So that's as I've done the bracket for years now. But Ryan, every March, and we'll do that coming up here in a couple of months, which I'm excited about. We will do a month-long bracket, and it's 4 or 5 weeks of the same topic. We did best pizza in Cleveland one year. We did the best wings in Cleveland one year. And last year, we did the best TV show of all time. So that one was really cool because it was 5 weeks and we broke it down by decades. So you had to vote in the 50s and 60s and then the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, all that kind of stuff. And Seinfeld won that, by the way, for last year. So we need a big bracket like that. We could open it up and do the best band of all time.
Yeah.
Best band. You know? I've also thought, because it's big enough that we could do the best, like, bands versus, like, the best rap artists of all time. Because that's one I've really wanted to do. But we'll do a little primer for this. We'll do just a little primer this week when it comes to that. All right, let's do that. Let's catch a break. When we come back, Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to the Heisman finalist. Good for him. I've got NFL MVP rankings from NFL.com and the biggest case for each candidate. Like, why do you think Dak Prescott should win it? Why do you think Jalen Hurts should win it? And is there a non-quarterback on this list? I will tell you that all when we come back. A very intriguing one of somebody that we've already discussed on this show. Get to that next. And, oh, God. Guardians are listening to trade offers for Emmanuel Clase. That came out from Paul Hoynes this morning. Hoynes, he just tweeted that. They're listening. Doesn't mean they're going to trade him, but they're listening for... We'll get to all that coming up. Folks, we got it all locked right here on Big Play. Big, massive day for us yesterday. of course, us. We're 9 to 11 every morning. Chico, 12 to 2. It's Tuesday. What do we mean, Ryan? What do we got on Chico?
The bold, bald breakdown.
Beautiful. Please throw that in there. They're good-looking guys. Nick Shook and Chico, 12 to 2. If you missed Ari Wasserman on yesterday, he was a part of that. Yesterday, Reflog, Cleveland, or the Big Play Cleveland Sports Show, Hanford Dixon, Greg and Blake Williams. Monday's always one of our biggest days. Tuesday, we don't stop. Again, we're on Chico tonight. The return with Josh and Maria Cribbs. Do you know when we get Booby this week? Is that?
I believe it's next Friday.
Okay, so a little time here coming up with Booby, but don't miss that. Booby's World with Rafa and Booby Gibson. It's everywhere you need it, folks. Big Play. Follow us on Twitter. They retweet all of our shows. We all have individual handles on YouTube and Facebook. We're everywhere on Twitter as well. Check it out. Big Play TV. It's everywhere you need it, right there on social media with our friends at Big Play. How you want it, when you want it, where you want it with our friends at Big Play. A lot to unpack. MVP candidacy for Myles Garrett. That comes your way next. Stay with us. All right, we got a lot here. We got football. We got a little bit of baseball. Welcome back. Matt Fontana Show right here on Big Play. Drop us a follow on Twitter at Matt Fontana Show. I think we're over, 350 now? Making our push towards 400. There we go. So drop us a follow if you can on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I still call it Twitter. I mean, sorry, Elon. Paid all that money. I'm still going to call it by its wrong name. We'll get to baseball. I want to talk a little college football, but I was a little interested this morning to click on NFL.com, and they run through the 10 NFL MVP candidates, the reason why they will win it, and the reason they might not. There's a lot of big names that you would know But Myles Garrett is on this list. So there are 2 non-quarterbacks on this list. Myles is one. You want to guess the other one?
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill is correct. So we start with Myles. The reason he could win the MVP, not DPOY, but the MVP, why he could win it. Garrett has produced moments this year that felt like he was manufactured in another solar system. That's pretty good. I mean, he is like, I've mentioned this with Josh Gordon. I said, if you had a factory and you said you were going to create the ultimate wide receiver, there's a good chance that Josh Gordon was going to come out the other side. The same thing. If you are going to create the ultimate pass rusher, I think Myles Garrett comes out the other side. Might be TJ Watt, might be Nick Bosa, but like even Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons isn't quite as tall as those other guys, but Myles Garrett is insane. But anyway, okay, right. Garrett has produced moments this year that felt like he was manufactured in another solar system. He's the face of one of the league's top defenses, or at least were. Garrett has individual numbers of 13 sacks, but there's something to be said about how he's shown up when the Browns have battled numerous injury problems. This is a team that has started a backup quarterback in 6 games this season, but they remain in contention partly because of the defense and the star power that Garrett has brought to it. That's the reason why he could win it. The reason that Myles might not win the MVP? He was a trendy pick a few weeks back, primarily because so many star quarterbacks weren't standing out. But plenty has changed since then. Garrett was a non-factor in Sunday's loss for the Rams. The Browns have an easier schedule down the stretch, including the Bears, Jets, and the Joe Burrow-less Bengals, which means Garrett isn't going to have any huge platforms to thrive on. Nobody's giving him style points for beating up on Justin Fields or Jake Browning. I understand that, but if he goes out there and strip sacks Jake Browning for a touchdown or puts up 4 sacks against the Bears again like he did a couple of years ago, I don't give a damn who's playing quarterback.
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
You know what I mean?
Because it doesn't matter who a quarterback plays if they go put up absurd numbers.
Right.
You don't look at, they played the Panthers. No, he threw for 4 touchdowns and 400 yards.
He does what Josh Allen does last night. You intercept some pass. Oh, yeah, that was a really stupid play. I don't care. He still picked it off. There's still that opportunity. The verdict on Garrett potentially winning the MVP, he has less of an argument for this award than Tyreek Hill does. He's still a favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year, but the MVP talk is over. You still feel like he's really in DPOY right now?
I mean, yeah, he's in it for sure.
I think the gap is closed. I think he was the favorite, and I do think that there was a gap there, and that's just closed up. So I still do think he's there. All right, back to you want to do Tyreek Hill as the other non-quarterback? The reason he could win the MVP, he's on pace to get 2,000 yards, all these touchdowns, all that kind of stuff. Why he couldn't win it, it's still a quarterback award. And even though we pretend sometimes it's not, it's usually going to the quarterback. Final verdict, Tyreek Hill's a lock for Offensive Player of the Year. And there's nobody else even close to him for that. But unfortunately, that's the biggest award he will win as a non-quarterback. I get that. So the 8 other quarterbacks on this list. Number 1, Dak Prescott, who is, of course, the favorite right now to do it. We know his touchdowns have gone up, his stats have gone up, and there's not a quarterback in the league who's lighting it up more. The final verdict, though, Prescott probably needs to win the NFC East to win the award, as they put it here on NFL.com. Number 2, Brock Purdy. So he comes off the injury, and he's completed 70% of his passes on a touchdown to interception ratio of 23-7. Those are better than Mahomes, Lamar, and Allen. They do not have stats like that. And also, he has, how about this? Brock Purdy, in the 3 biggest games of their year, Dallas, Jacksonville, and Philadelphia, 11 touchdowns, no interceptions. Now, we beat up Brock Purdy here. I get that. And they missed Debo in that game, and Trent Williams went out. I get all of it. And the thing is, and probably the reason that, same thing with Purdy, he's got a lot of guys around him. He's got a lot of guys in that offense that really help. So we'll see. Number 3, Jalen Hurts, who was the quarterback on the best team in the league. You would think, yeah, that's it right there. Is Philly on just a little bit of a downturn? I'm not saying they're bad, and I'm still expecting them to be in the NFC Championship. But I feel like things are a little down right now with Philly. I don't know. Number 4, and by the way, those were the 3 favorites, as they put it. The wild cards, C.J. Stroud. He ain't winning the MVP. I know this conversation for a couple of weeks ago. He's not winning the MVP. Patrick Mahomes at number 5. He's always going to be in the conversation. He's not going to win it this year. Lamar Jackson is at 6, which I still think he's got an outside shot at it. And Josh Allen is at 7, with Tua Tagovailoa being 8. You agree with that? The top 3 being Purdy, Hurts, and Dak. Do you think that's it? Would you feel like, Ryan, one of those guys is going to win the MVP? I think it's one of those 3. I do.
Yeah, I'm going to guess it's going to end up being Jalen Hurts because I just expect him to I feel like his worst game was going to be the 49ers, and so I feel like it's just going to improve from there, and then he's going to finish with the best record in the league. And he probably should have won it last year if he didn't get hurt towards the last 3-4 games this season. So I think he'll get it, and I get the Brock Purdy thing because it is just a numbers award and a quarterback award, but it's such a shame to see because I would much rather give it to Tyreek Hill than Brock Purdy.
Well, we'll find out on Sunday Night Football because it's Dallas Eagles Sunday Night Football. That might be for the MVP, and then for Dallas, they go Dolphins-Lions before they beat up on the Commanders in the final game of the year. So here's the thing for Dak Prescott. It's laid out in front of him, man. He's got that window. He's got 3 games right here to make the. I'll go Dak on that. I agree. I don't know if they'll maybe pass. Well, Sunday will tell the story, man. I don't know what that line will be. I'm taking Philly in that game, by the way. Mark that down. Take Philly there coming up on Sunday. We get over to, you want to do ESPN Power Rankings? You want to save those? Let's save those for hour 2 because I want to talk about this from Paul Hoynes this morning talking about Guardians. Apparently, the Guardians are listening for Emmanuel Clase and Shane Bieber. And Bieber, we knew. The Clase thing bothers me. You have a guy that is on a team-friendly contract. He's the best closer in baseball. Why would you do that? Your bullpen sucks outside of him, and you're going to trade him away? I got a real bad feeling about the Guardians this year. I think this is their blow it up. You're going to win 60 games.
Once we get Ohtani, we'll be cool.
Yeah, that'll be fine. 500. They're going to push 600 million for him. Do you get that in cash? Do you Venmo that? Bitcoin? Anybody? I know the Guardians have to listen, and that is how they've made their name for years, is listening. Man, does that bother me. I hate seeing that. And I know that they've made trades, and you look back on it and go, man, can you believe we traded this guy for this guy? The problem is that you're missing out on some of those. This was a rhetoric. Do people know that they got rid of Oscar Gonzalez? SpongeBob. Hit that home run in the playoff game. He's gone. Do you know that they traded away Nolan Jones and Will Benson because they thought Oscar Gonzalez was the future? Nolan Jones and Will Benson have turned themselves into pretty good players for the Rockies and the Reds, respectively. Better than Oscar Gonzalez. That's a miss. That's a miss there. I think the Guardians are starting to miss on some of these trades. And I like, Kyle Manzardo for Aaron Savali. That has remained to be seen. Frustrating. So frustrating. Winter meetings going on. So I expect even more news to come out. And I guess just prepare ourselves right now that there might be some news of the Guardians that you don't want to get coming up here in a little bit. I do want to see that Marvin Harrison went to the Heisman finalist. I don't think he's going to win it, unfortunately, Ryan. But the thing is, I think he is the best player in college football. I do. And Jaden Daniels will win that award. Bo Nix, you're not giving him that award. Penix, here's truthfully how I think the voting is going to go. Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison, Penix, then Bo Nix. I think that'll be the top 4. Maybe some first place votes for Marvin Harrison. The thing is, with those 3 quarterbacks, they're all semi-similar. So what you're going to ask is that Heisman voters that want to go outside the norm a little bit, they'll throw some love to Marvin Harrison. That's what I think, but it's kind of like the MVP we're just talking about in the NFL. Heisman's a quarterback award. Devontae Smith won it in a shortened year and all that kind of stuff, but it's really going to the quarterbacks. The thing is, did Jaden Daniels do anything that crazy? What did LSU finish the year with? 3 losses or 2? 2 or 3, right? Something like that. I mean, Marvin Harrison, what are you going to do? You need a Kyle McCord to throw him the football. I was happy to see he got the nomination, but Ryan, we don't think he's going to win the award. There's no way.
No, and it'll be Jaden Daniels. I don't really think it's going to be close. I mean, the argument, like you said, you're not giving it to Bo Nix. I mean,
Oh, he's the one that there's.
Yeah, you could make the
I would
argument
love
for
to see
Penix.
anybody that puts a number one vote next to Bo Nix. Penix, I get. Harrison, I get. And Jane Daniels, I get. There should be nobody in that Heisman voting that gives a single first place vote to Bo Nix. My rear end. No way.
Yeah, I think the only real argument for Penix is the fact that he's in the playoff. He's undefeated. But realistically, when you go look at the numbers, Jane Daniels is better. And
how crazy is that? 4 of your guys, only one of them is actually getting ready for a playoff game.
Yeah, so it'll at the end of the day, it'll be Jane Daniels.
Ohio State's kind of thankfully down in the news today a little bit. Fleming is going to transfer. I mean, they're going to blow it up, and I don't even want to play the Cotton Bowl game. Those bowl games have become so meaningless at this point. I don't really care about it. I'm sure other guys are going to sit out and not want to play. It's that tough time right now for Ohio State as they kind of play it up, but we'll see. All right, coming up, we'll get to the morning update. I do have power rankings from ESPN, including the one surprise player for every NFL team. And it's a guy for the Browns that really, it's weird because when I tell you who it is, you're going to say, well, of course. But it's probably not the guy you're thinking of right now. So we'll get to that coming up. We'll dive back into our 2 for Tuesdays, which are up at Matt Fontana Show. First off, would you just name Joe Flacco the starter for the rest of the season? As I predicted, that is a blow runaway right there. And then Xbox or PlayStation? And is our second one right there. Browns horror. PlayStation, but Xbox has the GOAT controller. I agree with that. There's just something about it. Lighten up in the middle. I mean, I had PlayStations growing up. I think the Xbox is easier on the hands, too. But fair enough. Vote on that. We'll get to all that when we return right here on Big Play Typicos. Dude, we just missed it last night. We had a boost. Trevor Lawrence completions, which, by the way, he hit before he got hurt.
I know. That was great. Like, barely.
ATN anytime touchdown score is the first one. We needed a Jake Browning interception. And it was funny. I hold my daughter. She's only 5 months old. So I hold her most nights so my wife can sleep. And I was up walking the living room as I do just miles in my living room every night. And I have a Bluetooth, my earbud in, and I'm listening to the game, or I'm watching the game on my iPad. And I was not standing. I wasn't watching, and all I heard was interception. And I about went through the roof. And then I run to sit down, and I see the replay. I go, damn it! Tyler Boyd that threw it. But anyway, Tipico is the place to go, folks. The boosts are what we do a lot of here on the show. We create a show boost, and you can go download the Tipico app. You deposit and bet $25. You get $100 in bonus bets. It doesn't matter what you bet it on. Does not matter what you bet it on. You can bet on whatever you want. And you get those bonus bets rolling, plus the boost. They have all the sports. College basketball is rolling. The in-season tournament for the NBA coming down the semifinals now. NBA action, hockey. Tipico is the place to go. Download the app, deposit and bet $25. Use the code BIGPLAY100, and you get that $100 in bonus bets. You can bet to your heart's content. If you got a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. Check those out on the website with our friends at Tipico. Let's get to the morning update. We'll do it when we return. Fontana Show right here on Big Play, taking you up to 11 o'clock. All right, 10 o'clock hour upon us here on the Matt Fontana Show. As we always do, the morning update, all the stories you got to know for your Tuesday. Ryan's got them. We got to hear them. Take it away.
Alrighty, Matt. Well, we know the stage is set in New York for the Heisman ceremony. It's going to be Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., and our Marvin Harrison Jr. We know the likely favorite is Jaden Daniels. However, Marvin is there. Odds aren't quite as high as we would have hoped going into it. But, Matt, do you know the 3 non-quarterbacks to win Heisman since 2000?
Since 2000.
There's been 3.
Okay, 3. Devontae Smith, Mark Ingram, okay, there have been defensive guys that have gone, but they've not won it, correct? It's not a defensive player. Hutchinson win, Chase Young win, but they didn't win it.
Yeah, the last defensive player, I believe, was 96, and that was Charles Woodson.
Charles Woodson, yeah.
They all went to the same school, so.
Non-quarterback. Devontae Smith, Mark Ingram.
It's another Bama boy.
Oh, Derrick Henry? No,
Yeah.
Derrick Henry. Yeah,
Yeah.
Derrick Henry.
There you go.
I keep forgetting that he won the Heisman. I
Yeah.
do. I keep forgetting that he won the Heisman. Right, good call. It's turned itself into a bit of that. I think there's more discrepancy than the NFL one because that's just straight quarterback since Adrian Peterson. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. I think it's an honor for Marvin to go. Yeah, it's going to probably be Jaden Daniels. It's just there's so many voters, man. There's so many voters on that, which makes it weird because what is the criteria? The best player in college football, right? Well, if you're talking about on the field, it's Marvin Harrison. And the draft rankings, they're different because they're always going to lean quarterbacks. Like Caleb Williams, for even as bad as his... By the way, he's going to the NFL... Or I thought he wasn't going to the NFL. I thought he wanted to wait to see which team was going to be the first overall pick. I thought he wanted ownership stake. And now he's leaving USC to go to the NFL. But I digress. The draft rankings will always be heavy quarterbacks, right? It'll always be who's the best quarterback because that's the most important position. But we talk about probably the big board. Like when I talk big board, Mel Kiper's big board or Todd McShay or whichever draft analyst you look at, Marvin Harrison is the best player in this draft, is he not? So therefore, he would be the best player in college football. There was no underclassman that you looked at. He's the best player in college football. He should win the Heisman, but he's not going to. And the thing is, one of the attributes that you needed to give to Marvin Harrison was that because he had an uphill climb. Him playing wide receiver was going to be an uphill climb. One of the things you had to have happen was he was on a really good team. And you can't say that about Ohio State. And make no mistake, everything that's going on with Ohio State, that impacts voters. But I think the Heisman votes are already in. I think they come in right after the season. But regardless, everything kind of went against him. He had good games, good season, ups and downs. I think he deserves to be a finalist. And again, in my opinion, of what that award is, he is the best player on in college football. So I would think he would get it, but nonetheless, I don't think he will.
Speaking of quarterbacks, the New York Jets are looking to go back to Zach Wilson after a failed Tim Boyle experiment, but Zach Wilson isn't quite sure he's ready to take back the reins in New York.
When your coach has to come out and utter the statements, he's not reluctant to play. If he were, he wouldn't be here. That is what Robert Saleh said yesterday about Zach Wilson. Weirdness. And the quarterbacks, it's their career. And this is a balance, and this is something for a longer debate to be had. And I would probably love to have Josh or Ted, Josh Cribbs or Ted Ginn Jr., or even Blake or Greg come in and talk about that line. Because NFL teams operate that they need to do what's best for them. These players need to operate sometimes on what's best for them. And you want to get that perfect crossover, right? But here's what I'm talking about. The Jets made the best decision for the team. Zach Wilson, you suck. You need to be benched. You're not going to, you're not helping us out here. Zach Wilson's sitting there saying, for my career, for me to try to make as much money, I need to get the hell out of New York. So if they have discarded me, which is basically what they have done, I want out of here. and he's eventually going to leave there. So I see both sides of it. And is that a crappy thing for Zach Wilson to do? Well, yeah, dude, you're still getting paid a lot of money, and that will resonate with other teams when they think about signing you. But Zach Wilson, unfortunately, he's still young. What is he, 23, 24 years old? And in 2 years, went from thinking he was going to be a franchise quarterback signing hundreds of millions of dollars to watching his career pretty much go down the tubes. Don't forget that. That's a big thing. And it's not just the big level quarterbacks, it's any player. He's watching his dreams fade away. That's not easy to do. So he's probably in self-preservation mode right now. And he knows, I need to get out of New York. I'll go find somewhere else to be a backup and learn my craft or hone my skills and hope that I'll get another shot. You want to know something crazy, Ryan, that I feel pretty good about saying? Zach Wilson's going to start in the NFL again at some point of his career. And he hopes that he can take advantage of that situation and turn himself into a guy that gets paid. But he can't do it in New York. So I understand where he is coming from. Is he wrong in thinking that? No. But get out there and play. Get out there and play. I don't think there's much you can do to really make things worse. If anything, go out there and maybe play a little bit better. I don't know. But the Jets are just an absolute dumpster fire. They're just so bad. And I think Robert Saleh might get caught up in all this. I really do. Let me ask you this, Ryan. Is that a reflection of Robert Saleh that Zach Wilson allegedly doesn't want to play? I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a tough situation, but it ultimately does fall back on the head coach. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So, all bad out there with the Jets. And I do feel bad a little bit for Zach Wilson.
The NFL's seen an ungodly amount of injuries, it seems, this year. Trevor Lawrence being the latest victim last night with that ankle injury, and that has led to some interesting matchups, Matt. I'm going to read you some quarterback matchups that we get to see in the NFL next week.
Okay.
First, Thursday night, Bailey Zappi versus Mitchell Trubisky. Then we get C.J. Beathard versus Joe Flacco. Gardner Minshew versus Jake Browning. Baker Mayfield versus Desmond Ridder. Josh Dobbs possibly versus Aiden O'Connell. And Bryce Young versus possible Jameis Winston.
It's funny to see the league work so hard to protect quarterbacks with these roughing the passer calls, and they still can't do it. And some of that's just rotten luck. Trevor Lawrence got stepped on, okay? Aaron Rodgers, the turf, caught him, all that. But, that has been, I really think, one of the stories of the year. And it started with Aaron Rodgers. Then you go down to Kirk Cousins. You have Anthony Richardson go out. I mean, the thing is, and I don't hope any of this, but is one of the big guys, Purdy, Dak, Mahomes, Hurts, Lamar. There's still 5 games left in this season, man. The NFL is, if they could put those guys in bubble wrap and make sure you watch this for the rest of the season too, they can ill afford to have any one of those guys go down. Because, it goes back to really the Carson Wentz, Nick Foles thing, right? Carson Wentz got hurt, second to last game of the year or last game of the year or something like that? We're not out of the woods on this yet. We are far out of the woods from this yet. And they got playoff tickets and they got playoff TV ratings that they need. Could you imagine if something like that happens again? God, I hope not. It's an unfortunate thing, and I'm sure Trevor Lawrence will be back at some point. I don't think it'll be for this weekend. But yeah, man, snake bit. The NFL has been at some of those quarterback spots.
Well, Florida State was snubbed out of the playoff after the committee left them out despite being 13-0 and winning the ACC. We know that Alabama snuck in there at the 4th spot, and they're slated to face Michigan. But, Matt, I wanted to ask if you saw the video of the Michigan room reacting to them drawing Alabama in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, and now they have their senators coming out and saying stuff. I mean, it just sucks that, they probably deserve to, they're not. Did you see the letter from, I don't even know who the senator was. He's a big name guy. I don't get into politics. But he writes that you're going to leave out an undefeated Power 5 conference champion. On that statement alone, you're like, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. But what are you going to do? And I know the video, that's crushing to them. Do you want to know the thing that I feel the worst about all of it? Did you see Jordan Travis came out and issued an apology?
I did.
That was gutting. That got to me. Because there's nothing that young man did, and he feels the weight on his shoulders like that. That's terrible. I feel really bad for him. I feel bad in a way for the team. Now, the crazy thing is, I said that they didn't deserve to make it. And we'll go to expansion next year, and it'll all get figured out. But the one thing that has hit me the hardest out of any of that was Jordan Travis coming out and said he apologized. And I go, dude, damn it, that sucks. That really sucks. It does.
Well, did you see the Michigan reaction of what they were all watching when they saw Alabama was elected in the 4th spot? They seemed a little bit scared.
Yeah.
They were definitely hoping they were going to draw Florida State there.
Well, and I would assume Alabama's going to be favored. We have lines on those games, don't we? I think last time I saw it was like Alabama. I think Texas-Washington's a pick'em. Last time I checked, I think they're a pick'em. We should jump on Tipico real quick.
I'm seeing Michigan, at least Michigan 1.5, and Texas -4.
Wow, so it moved. I'm taking Bama. Give me Bama and probably Texas. You know what? I take that back. I've been riding Washington a little bit here recently. Give me Washington +4.5 and Alabama to win outright. Can I boost that? +273. I'll put some coin on that. Yeah, I'll bet that on Tipico. Big Play 100. Use that code. Get signed up. I'm in for that. Alabama money line and Washington +4.5. I'll listen to that. You know what? Should I just take Washington to win? Am I better off doing that? After giving me the points, I guess take them, right?
Yeah.
I'll put some money on that. All right, I'm in.
Alrighty, well, Matt, I wanted to end the morning update. We know the NBA play-in tournament is almost over. We've reached the semifinals. Knicks, Bucks, Suns, Lakers tip off tonight, Matt. I wanted to get your overall thoughts. I know we've heard it before, but just on this play-in tournament and kind of what you expect the NBA to kind of modify or keep the same as they continue this play-in tournament year after year.
Just change the courts. I think the system works, and here's the thing. I know what the courts, I liked it because their whole point was we want you to know right away that this is a play-in tournament game. I'm not saying don't do crazy courts, but just make them a little easier to watch. I'm telling you, they are truthfully really hard to watch on TV. It's the bright colors. It just throws me off, okay? So change the courts. And this would be really hard to do, and they wouldn't do this because they like spreading the games around. I'd like it to be that on Wednesday night, you know that they're all playing tournament games, and do it East versus West. Now, the hard part would be you'd only have the East Coast. I get all the reasons why they can't do this. They need games on the West Coast. They need different time zones and all that other kind of stuff. But if you just made it that for 3 weeks, because they played 3 games, right, in the round robin series, 3 straight weeks, every Wednesday and Thursday we're playing tournament games. Every week. Do that. And then that way you know that it is. Again, I know they can't do that. There's no way to set up. So another change could be, and I'm just spitballing here, why don't you change the pooling? Why don't you change the groups? Where it was it was the Cavs and the Hawks and the Pacers and the Pistons? Those were the 4 in that pod. Why not do the Cavs and the Lakers and the Cavs and, I'm giving them all good teams, the Suns? Why not mix it up a little bit? Now, it's going to be really hard on the scheduling, but really shake it up a little bit. That would be a nice thing. Overall, I've changed my tune on the play-in tournament. I was anti to start. I had questions about it. I've come around. I think it's a lot of fun. And now the players are in it because the players want to win that money. So I think job well done. Good job, NBA. Good job. Am I ready to jump on a soapbox? Like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened in the NBA and they have to keep it? No. But it's gone better than I expected. So I'm fine with it staying for a little bit. But some tweaks, and they will. Just, God, please, the courts. God, please change the courts. That's all I ask. Let's get back into our 2 for Tuesday. 2 questions, 2 answers. As always, up at Matt Fontana Show. Before we get to power rankings on ESPN and the biggest surprise for the Browns this year. First up, our question, Second question, which console is better, PlayStation or Xbox? 60-40 people are on PlayStation.
I wanna know what people's favorite exclusives are, whether it's PlayStation or Xbox.
Halo in the I mean, the show's not exclusive anymore, but
Halo, yeah,
Halo in the show.
Xbox.
That would be it for me. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the first one, kind of what I expected. Would you name Joe Flacco the starting quarterback for the Browns the remainder of the season? 90-10, Ryan. 90-10. People are saying, yeah. There's the comfortability level there. There is, you know what Flacco is. I'm not giving Joe Flacco credit, and this was in the inbox here. I'm not giving him enough credit for improving. For as good as I thought Flacco played on Sunday, I've got to assume that he's going to get a little bit better and that Kevin Stefanski's going to get a little more comfortable with him calling plays and play design and all that kind of stuff. I can't get off DTR. I'm not ready to get off of that. And I think it's partly a couple weeks ago, we were all in on DTR, were we not? Everybody was. Everybody was. And we just jump off. Just, no, that's okay. Is it because people are scared? Is it because I'm going to try to put myself in the position of a fan that is flipped? And what I would start with is as the playoffs have dwindled, you're holding on by a thread. And some people would say when you're holding on by a thread, you got to go with the safe pick. You got to go with, we can't make any more mistakes. We can't roll the dice here because we're just hanging on by a thread. And I come from the other side. That's all you got is holding on by a thread. Try to fix it. Try to go big here. Go big and try to capture something with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, knowing that you're always going to have Flacco in the waiting. You can always go back to Joe Flacco if you need to. But there's just something that I can't let go about Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And it really does come back to if and buts, candies and nuts. I get it. If you had Nick Chubb, and if you had Amari Cooper, and you had Jack Conklin, and this offense was built the way that you expected it to be, I'm screaming Joe Flacco then. Because I would look at Flacco and say, dude, all you got to do is turn and give the ball to Nick Chubb. All you got to do is hit Amari Cooper. All we got to do is just play our game here. You don't have that. It is obvious. For as bad as the defense is played, the Browns have some serious problems on offense. So I'm going to have to go to a guy that I think can do a little more on his own. And a guy that can make some plays. I'm not asking him to run 15 times a game like Justin Fields, but it's the same thing. Like, they're void of talent there on the Chicago side. Justin Fields says, I'll do it all myself. Dorian Thompson-Robinson is a rookie, a fifth-round rookie, who in his play has not done much, Ryan, for people to go, wow. You know, he's had struggles. And he's not to a level that you would have loved for him to play so well that this wasn't even a debate, right? Now, the flip side is I don't think Joe Flacco played to a level that this is not a debate. For it to be 90-10, Ryan, people would think he threw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns on Sunday, and he didn't. I think Browns fans are a little afraid. I think they're playing and fanning scared out there to just instantly dismiss Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I'm not going to be upset if they go with Flacco. Don't forget, there's jobs on the line with Stefanski and the coaching staff. And when their jobs are on the line, you go with the safe bet, and that's Joe Flacco. And people also can't second guess that as much as DTR. Because if they start DTR and it goes really bad, and then they turn to Flacco and he's not much better, that might be unrecoverable for Kevin Stefanski. People would rip him for that. So these are, I get it. There is a laundry list. There's a giant list of reasons to go with Joe Flacco. And people can call me crazy to say, why would you just disregard this laundry list of things to start Joe Flacco? I guess my simple answer is it's not my job. Okay, it's not my job. And people also want to create the narrative of the coaching staff versus the front office, right? And the front office might want DTR to play, and then Flacco is the coach's pick. I don't know if I buy it. Front office ain't exactly in a good spot either, right? You're telling me that you're not going to sit down at the end of the year and go, what the hell happened with Josh Dobbs and Donovan Peoples-Jones? Those are questions I don't need answered right now. And I know Dobbs has come back down to earth. That's a bad pun because he's an astronaut. I get it. Pick that up. Did you get that? I got it. But those are still questions that I have for a time with Andrew Berry. But make no mistake, the front office and the coaching staff, they need to get these wins on the way out. So they're going to go Flacco. They're going to go Flacco because that's easier. That's the safer pick. And I'm not knocking him for it. I would not discredit Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And I'm going to keep riding that until they tell me no. Until they come out on Thursday or Friday and they say, Joe Flacco's our starting quarterback for Sunday. Because you want to know what? It's just fucking, oh, sorry. That just murdered in my head. Oh, sorry. Good thing we don't have to worry about that. Right? I've been so close in my career, and usually I censor myself. I usually am pretty good about it. Not today. Whoops. You actually have a better quarterback on Sunday.
Yeah.
Do you not? Who would have ever thought that?
You'd think. You'd hope.
Who would have ever thought that? That come Sunday, the Browns actually have the quarterback advantage. Because I don't know many teams that would take C.J. Beathard over Joe Flacco. People could try to make the case, but at least for that. Now, that's the other thing. If you started Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I could see that you would say, I'm not saying that's a one-on-one thing. You're not making these decisions just strictly on who they're playing for C.J. Beathard versus Dorian Thompson-Robinson. But if you start Joe Flacco, you very clearly have the quarterback advantage on Sunday over C.J. Beathard. Did not think that was going to happen. Did not see that happening. All right, let's get to our power rankings with ESPN. I expected the Browns to fall a little bit, and they did. But also, the surprise player, the pleasant surprise for the Cleveland Browns and all 32 teams. Number 1, San Francisco jumps up from 2-1 over their win over Philly. Philly drops from 1-2. Miami up from 6-3. Baltimore, just on a bye, falls from 3-4. Dallas stays at 5. Detroit up to 6. Kansas City falls from number 4 to number 7 after their loss to the Packers. Jacksonville stagnant at 8. Buffalo 9? Huh. Houston 10. And at number 11, your Cleveland Browns, who stay exactly where they were. Huh. Why do you think they stayed there? Like, make the case. Packers go up to 12. So these are the teams behind us. Pittsburgh falls. Pittsburgh had a worse loss than we did, so I get to understand why they fell down a little bit. The Rams are at 14. Seattle's at 15. Colts are 16. Vikings, Broncos, Bengals, Falcons are your top 20. I'll tell you, you want to know why, Ryan? You want to know why we stayed at 11? Because there's not a lot of good teams in football. And you say, hear me out.
No, I said yeah.
No, I'm talking to the people out there. Dude, I got this sick thing of like, I know what the people are saying. They're sitting at their desks at work or they're sitting at home. They're listening on their phones. And I hear it when people call me psycho. It's when I say that there's not a lot of good teams in football, here's what I mean. You have a group of 5 that I think are elite teams. And I think that is San Francisco, Philadelphia, Miami, Baltimore. All right, Dallas and Detroit, and then Kansas City. Okay, 7. I think you have 7. But then you just got a big group of mediocrity. And then you got a group of crap. You got a 5-gallon Home Depot bucket of crap at the bottom of the league. So that's what I mean. There's not 12 teams that you sit there and go, hey, man, there's a lot of really good teams. I think you got 5, 6, or 7 elite teams, and then that's about it. So that's why I think the Browns stayed there at 11. Because there's just behind them a bunch of teams that you just know are not truly better. Now, the thing is, the Packers are at 12. Right now, today, if the Browns are playing the Packers would be favored, and you'd expect them to win that game. Jordan Love is sending. But for the Browns at 11, their pleasant surprise player, if you had to guess, Ryan, who do you think it would be? Pleasant surprise for the season for the Cleveland Browns. It's the guy that when I say the name, you're going to go, oh, that's it. But I didn't think about him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You tell me. If it came right to your mind, who would your pleasant surprise be?
I guess Miles.
No.
So, okay.
No?
So, like, yeah, because, I mean, you know how elite he is. So, pleasant surprise.
A pleasant surprise for the Browns.
The first name I actually thought about when you said that was Kareem Hunt.
Good guess. I would listen to that, but it's not.
So, is it?
And again, when I say it, you're going to go, well, of course. But you were in the same boat as I.
Yeah.
I did not think of this guy. I did not think of this
I
guy
would say-
right off the bat, but you should have because he's the answer.
I would say pleasant surprise who really took a great leap this year that I love to see. It was Grant Delpit.
That's a good guess, too. And I like Delpit. Think he's made himself a lot of money? No.
And it's not Amari Cooper?
No. No.
What?
No.
Wait, rephrase it. How would you say the question?
The pleasant surprise. Who is the biggest pleasant surprise for the Cleveland Browns?
I know it.
Yeah.
DeJuan Jones.
DeJuan Jones is correct. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And now that you say it, you're like, oh, yeah, of course. But
Surprise
I'm the same
is
thing,
the
but I
key
didn't
word.
think. Surprise, it's not who ascended the most or who grew the most, your pleasant surprise, because, of course, it is him. It has to be. Jake Trotter's right up. The Browns drafted DeJuan Jones in the 4th round this year. Initially, the team viewed the 6'8", 374-pound product out of Ohio State as a work in progress, but he impressed in training camp, and after Jack Conklin went down, Jones was pushed into the starting lineup. He has thrived. Jones has a pass block win rate of 87% and a run block grade of 75. Despite battling a shoulder and injuries over the last month, he appears to be a long-term bookend here in Cleveland. He is the answer. You're right. I think there's been, I can listen to Kareem Hunt, give him more carries, by the way. Yeah, Delpit has improved, but your pleasant surprise, without a doubt, is DeJuan Jones. And that is why NFL GMs, they covet these draft picks, right? Everybody always puts up that thing from Lord of the Rings, like my precious draft picks. And oh my God, the precious draft picks. Because they look like geniuses when they hit that. But also, what that affords you on a salary cap. You got a guy playing to an above average, maybe even elite level at right tackle, and he's making nothing. Nothing as a 4th round pick. Now, you can go draft, you're going to have to pay him or, let him go, and you got to do it again. But that's why these teams, they love those picks. That's why I'm probably not good as an NFL general manager, Ryan. I'd trade away everything beyond the 4th round. I would trade away every pick that I had, 5th, 6th round, 7th round. I don't care about that. But you find your guys. You love to find your Joe Schoberts of the world. You love to find your guys later that supplement your team. And that's the thing. A lot of those guys turn into what? Special teamers. And those are important players on your position. But to find a bookend tackle, which seems to be what you did in the 4th round, it's great. Now, I can't say all that by not saying the Browns are in quite a pickle when it comes to what they're going to do with Jack Conklin and Jed Wills. I haven't revisited this in a while. What's Jack Conklin's contract? We need to have Jack Duffin on again soon. We should do that. Because I want his guaranteed money. So next season, man, he's guaranteed 5.5 on a cap number of 13. Here's the problem. If you cut him post June 1, you're on the hook for $13 million. $13 million to save yourself 40 is kind of what you'd be doing there. That's what they might have to do, man. That might be what they have to do. Because the thing is, you're starting DeJuan Jones. There's no world that you're not. Now, the same thing, it's ironic of that $13 million that you got to eat. Isn't that not what Jed Wills is on the books for fully guaranteed?
That's so annoying.
I know, you know what I mean?
That's so annoying.
And I don't even know what else they'll do. Well, no, get that out of my head. I don't want to think about it. What if they let Wyatt Teller go like everybody thought and they move one of those guys to guard? Ugh. I don't want to do that. Because honestly, Wyatt Teller has been one of the best players on this team this year. He's another guy I know he just got a contract extension, but I'd like to see Wyatt Teller hang out here a little bit. Can I give you a really bad scenario too? What if Joel Bitonio retires?
I wouldn't be that surprised.
I wouldn't be. I think he wants to see this thing through, and he's still playing at a high level too. But that's my problem is you got too many guys. Now, Posick is playing fine. I think he had a really rough game on Sunday, but you got a lot of money tied up. You got too many guys. I guess it's a good problem to have. You got too many guys. It's like musical chairs. Too many guys, not enough chairs. If you could start 6 offensive linemen, I'd love to, but you can't. And I don't think you're trading with Jack Conklin. Not on that deal. Dude, Jack's only 29 years old. 29. You know what? I'm going to make my statement right here and now. I want Jack Conklin back. Put DeJuan Jones over at left tackle. Deal with Jed Wills. Deal with Jed Wills. And I like Jed. And I think he's an average tackle. He's not lived up to the expectations, sure. Still serviceable. I never once wanted to cut him. There's worse tackles out there. Trust me. Yeah, I'm ready to stake my claim. Keep Jack in there. Move Dwan over to left tackle. Deal with Jed Wills. Do something with him. Do something with it. Because here's the thing. You could move on from... Somebody would trade for Jack or for Jed Wills if you put a draft pick on it. If you attached a pick, he's still a serviceable guy. Get him down to Baker. Help Baker down to Buffalo or Tampa Bay.
Do you trust DeJuan Jones to play left tackle more than Teller?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to take some work. And I understand that people would say, like, he's maybe just more fit for right tackle. I mean, move Jack Conklin. I don't know. Here's my thing. I want Jack Conklin and DeJuan Jones my starting 2 tackles. Figure that out however you be. I've seen enough of that. I think Jack has obviously played to higher levels than Jed Wills has been at. Jed Wills the odd man out. And the problem is that they got to swallow that contract. What a mistake that was. That's another thing. We've turned into the questioning Andrew Berry show this morning. What another mistake that really was for the Browns. All right, let's catch a break. We come back. An abbreviated time hop. Doing this, there are times that just take me back. Like, I know exactly where I was and what I was doing when I heard this person say this. I've got one of those. And a crazy Ohio State game that we'll get to. A couple of birthdays, 2 movies for you, Ryan. 2 movies for you. We'll get to those coming up in a little bit. Time Hop comes your way next. We'll get more back into the Browns. We'll get to our bracket as well. Stay with us. Fontana Show right here on Big Play. All right, little abbreviated time hop here. Welcome back to December 5th, man. Time is just flying away.
It really is.
How's your Christmas shopping going?
I haven't started, Matt. Gotta be honest.
I mean, I'm pretty happy with myself. There are several things on order. One of the things I got the note. It's like 2 to 3 weeks for delivery. I go, it better be 2 weeks. Let's just put it that way. But nonetheless, we are now to the 5th of December. Let's see what we got, including this day 2020, Ryan. Number 4, Ohio State, taking on Michigan State in only their 5th game of the year in December because of the COVID year, of course. They beat Michigan State 52-12, but imagine playing your 5th game of the year in the first week of December.
That's crazy.
It is crazy times. I mentioned that there are just times doing this where I remember exactly where I was and the situation that we were in. Because it was this day, 2019. I'm standing in the Browns locker room, and Odell Beckham is asked, do you want to be in Cleveland? And he gave the answer, Cleveland's where I'm at right now. And he talked about Jarvis and where his feet were at. He'd be gone a year later. And I don't begrudge Odell. He was traded here. It just didn't work out. You know, that pick you gave up, they took Dexter Lawrence. And he's a good player. So if you want to say the Giants won that trade, okay, fine. But John Dorsey tried to make a splash. You know, the Baker, the video. I mean, it was a crazy time. But it is an exciting time. Like, I don't know. I don't look back on the Odell thing with any venom or anything like that. Like, just, it kind of is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. Like, it doesn't really bother me that much.
Like, all that drama,
trade,
all that other stuff that was kind of happening. You know what I mean? Like, it was just...
Yeah, it was fine. Didn't work out. Sucks, but oh well.
Here's one. This day, 1978. Pete Rose, as a free agent, signed with the Philadelphia Phillies. Ryan, he signed the richest deal in MLB history. This day, 1978, at 4 years, $32 million. Not per year, $32 million over 4 years. And now you got guys making $40 million a year in baseball.
That's insane.
For arguably the greatest hitter. I mean, probably the greatest hitter that ever played the game in Pete Rose. This day, 1974, the Seattle Seahawks were founded. I like the Seahawks. I've mentioned this before. It's a crazy thing. I've said this. People give me crap. I think I would really like Seattle. I've never been there, but
People always say that.
I feel like I would really like it there. And I like the Seahawks. I think they have a cool logo. I like their alternate uniforms, the 12th man. I like their field. So congratulations, Seattle Seahawks, founded this day, 1974. A day that I know our fans at Garage Beer and our friends at Garage Beer are very happy at, because this day, 1933, the 21st Amendment was ratified, which ended prohibition. What a time that must have been.
Yeah.
People making booze in their bathtubs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And now, correct me if I'm wrong, right? We are inundated with it. Like, it's beers and bourbons. And I still got to send Sonny his bourbon. I meant to do that today. He was going to join us on Friday. I owe Sonny Gupta from Tipico a nice bottle of bourbon for our Michigan bet. But it's like, there's seltzers out the wazoo right now. It's crazy. But ended prohibition this day, 1933. Very happy birthday goes out to Jim Plunkett, Art Monk, Christian Yelich, LeGarrette Blount, Walt Disney, Little Richard, Frankie Muniz, and Martin Van Buren, former United States president, there for you on the birthdays. 2 movies for you. We start with a film this day, 1997. And I start by saying it was one of the most nominated films at the Oscars the following year. Best Picture, Best Director. It won Best Supporting Actor and Best Original Screenplay. And I bring the last one up because Best Original Screenplay was for 2 gentlemen that this was their first screenplay ever. Those are really vague hints. It's really hard. Anything that you're...
What year was this?
97.
1997, and it won Best Picture?
No, it was nominated. Nominated. It won Best Supporting Actor and Best Original Screenplay.
97. So I'm trying to think. That was around Titanic.
And again, the hint is that these were 2 friends that wrote this screenplay, and it was their first screenplay, and they went and won an Oscar for it.
97, you said?
Yes.
I know I'm going to know it as soon as
I know you are, yeah. Because there's any other hint I would give, I would think that it'd be too easy.
Do they play two friends in the movie, or is it they just wrote it together?
Yes.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Oh. No. Oh no. Is it like a mobbish movie?
No.
Oh, then I don't think I know it, Matt.
Two friends in the movie. It's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault. It's one of the biggest iconic scenes from this movie. It's not your fault. So maybe you haven't seen this movie. I think you have, though.
Is it like
And then
is it a funny movie?
No.
Oh.
I mean, it's got funny parts in it, but I would say it's a drama. It's definitely a drama. And it ends with him. The other line is, I got to go see about a girl.
I don't think I know this.
A lowly janitor working at a college.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I honestly haven't seen this movie. I've only seen clips, and
Right?
it looks amazing, but Good Will Hunting. Yeah.
Good Will Hunting is correct. So that was the first ever screenplay for Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Yeah.
And there's stories that they've talked about that these studios, they had to like fight to get this movie made on a
Yeah.
budget of $10 million.
I love their accents.
It got $225 million during its theatrical run, a $10 million budget. You're right. Now, Ben Affleck's like from Boston and Chucky.
He's wicked smart.
He's my boy. He's wicked smart. You like apples?
How about
you like
them apples?
how about them? So you've seen more than you want.
Yeah.
Minnie Driver
Wicked
in that movie is hot as hell. I have to say that. She as Skylar in that movie. But Gerald Lambeau, and then so Robin Williams won for Best Supporting Actor as
sense.
Sean.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's just, of course, goes down as an iconic movie. I think. Let me see your receptions, accolades. So again, it was nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor for Matt Damon, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Screenplay, Best Film Editing, Best Original Dramatic Score, and Best Original Song. It won Supporting Actor for Robin Williams, and Matt Damon and Ben Affleck won for Best Screenplay.
Wow.
And then it's got to be on the list. Because the other list that I kind of go on with movies, because we're all, Brian loves movies, I love movies very much. I was a film minor in college, by the way. So I'm an educated, not really, film critic, not at all. Is when the oh my God, what's the name of it? The United States, they put it on the list of National Registry. It's on the National Registry as like a historical importance to the world. And I think it's on there. I would have to imagine that it's on there. There's no way that it's not. But yeah, what a flick, man. It's such a good movie. Yes. Good Will Hunting. This day, 1997. All right, we'll go back a little bit further to a movie that came out this day, 1984. Now, here's the problem. I can't play you the theme of this movie because the theme is awesome. It's one of the best themes of any movie, in my opinion, ever made.
What year is it?
84.
84.
Let me ask you this. Here's your hint. And maybe I can get you to think of the theme without saying the theme. Do you watch Family Guy?
I love Family Guy.
The episode when Peter and Brian go back in time.
Okay, yeah.
And they're at the Quahog and they're dancing.
Oh,
You remember
dancing.
that? They were dancing because then the line is when Peter goes, and I think I know just what to do. And then they flash to him and he's dancing at Quahog and Brian comes running and goes, Peter, we got to go get Lois. And he goes, sorry.
I just
You
remember
remember
the
it?
episode where
You
they went
remember
back
it?
in time with Terminator.
No,
But-
this was when he had to go back to save his relationship with Lois. Because the theme of this movie, this had nothing to do with Family Guy. You know the theme.
Is it with dancing? Do they dance?
Yeah, they're dancing at the bar, yeah.
Is that
So do you know that theme? Can you picture the theme?
yeah, I think
Okay,
so.
well, that's the theme of the movie that I'm trying to get you to get to.
It's not Footloose, is it?
No. I know where you're going. No, it's not that.
It's like one of those type of movies, is it?
Not really. No.
I don't know if I know.
You might not have seen this. It spawned several sequels. Do you know who Detective Axel Foley is?
That sounds so familiar, but
Eddie Murphy, Beverly Hills Cop.
okay.
So it's like,
okay.
I can't even do it. I'm bad at doing musical things, but it's like, can you turn the mics off for a second so I can play it for you? All right. Remember that?
I do remember
Dun,
that.
dun, 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 and they're just and he goes, Peter, we gotta go. Yes, so that theme is great. The Beverly Hills Cop theme is so good. It's not quite like, it's different than Jaws. Like, I think people would say Jaws is one of the best, movie scores, and Indiana Jones, and it always comes back to John Williams and all that kind of stuff. But no, the Beverly Hills Cop, Harold Faltermeyer,
Okay.
Axel F, I think is what it's called for Axel Foley. But God, what a theme. What a theme for Beverly Hills Cop. So 2 movies for you today, 2 pretty damn good flicks. Good Will Hunting and Beverly Hills Cop for you today in Time Hop. So the Browns are their off day today. We'll get ready for tomorrow. I mentioned all the injuries, and that's as they get ready to see what Dorian Thompson-Robinson is. Come tomorrow, right? We won't have it for the show tomorrow, but I want to see if there's any news on Miles. I want to see if there's any news on Amari Cooper, because Cooper, in the concussion protocol, that's such a hard thing. You know what I mean? Like, that is just such a hard thing to get cleared. And I'm afraid of what this team's going to look like without him. So with that, another reason why I think Dorian Thompson-Robinson, you're going to need him to make something out of this. And there's names, Cedric Tillman and David Bell, who sometimes are forgotten guys on this team. You're going to need somebody to step up. You're going to need somebody to step up in this game. And it's going to be a little easier because, again, I'm projecting, and I don't think we're going to see Trevor Lawrence in this game. So things will be a little bit easier. But still, it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. And that's maybe where Flacco, the boat has been rocked. The boat has been rocked more than the Browns could have ever imagined. And maybe you say if you go with Flacco, that's rocking the boat a little less and it's just comfortable. Because I don't want it to be lost as well that what the move that is made is that resonates in the locker room. Where those guys are sitting in there and they lean one way or another. And they know exactly the situation they're in, and they know exactly what's going on with this team, where you might want that comfortability, not for me, but for them. To give the other 50 guys in that locker room a little bit of comfortability. And that helps them maybe play a little loose. Because the problem is, and I get this, if you go with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, everybody else all of a sudden has pressure on them. Everybody else starts getting pressure that they got to step up and make plays. Flacco, I think, slows that a little bit. Brings it down just a little bit. So maybe that's the reason that we go. All right, Ryan, it is that time for our big play bracket of the week. This is in honor of the Rolling Stones, who will be in town next year here at Cleveland Brown Stadium. So we're going to do the best classic rock band of all time. We have it. It was tough. It was not easy to do. But we have the 16. And yes, we left some out. I'm sure somebody's going to bitch and complain about it. But sorry, these are the 16. This is how it's going to go. Groups 1 and 2 go tonight, and 3 and 4 tomorrow. If we are ready, we're pulling it up, right?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up.
All right, pulling it up. There it is.
Well,
there it is.
Hold on.
Oh, hold on. Sorry. I jumped the gun. Jumped the gun. We had to wait. So we wait for everybody to add things. I got to be nitpicky. We're going to have to change Silver Bullets to Bob Seger. You want me to change it real quick?
Yeah, you can change it.
Change it. Because if we put Silver Bullets, everybody's going to go, what? It is Bob. Wait, you put Tom Petty in there. Okay. All right, Bob Seger's in. All right, there it is. Change it over there. Good job. So the cool thing is that we edit in the same time. So, I'm watching Ryan change all this stuff as we made it. Nonetheless, here's your 16. I'll read through them before we show up. Group 1, Rolling Stones, AC/DC. You spelled Leonard Skinner wrong, but that's okay. AC/DC, Rush, and Leonard Skinner. Do you know how Leonard Skinner got their name, by the way?
Oh, I forgot a Y, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. That's okay. Actually, I think you forgot a Y. You know how they came up with Leonard Skinner?
No.
The guys in high school had a gym teacher that used to give him crap for long hair all the time, and his name was Leonard Skinner. Leonard Skinner. So they made their band name Leonard Skinner to mess with him because that's what they called him. So like, back in the day in 60s or whatever, they all had long hair, and there was this gym teacher who would just give him crap all day long. His name was Leonard Skinner. And Leonard Skinner came up with that. So, all right, Group 1. Rolling Stones, AC/DC, Rush, and Leonard Skinner. Group 2. This one's a hard one. Led Zeppelin, The Who, Kiss, Creedence. Group 3. Pink Floyd, Guns N' Roses, The Doors, and Tom Petty. And then Group 4, Queen. Oh, who's number 2? I can't see it.
For Group 4?
Yeah.
Eagles.
Eagles, Beatles, and Bob Seger. So there you go. We'll send those out after the show at Matt Fontana Show, Groups 1 and 2 tonight, and then Groups 3 and 4 tomorrow, and we will set the finals and ride on from there. I think for the bracket, keep that in the back of your mind, too, for that March bracket.
Okay.
Because we got to do something for the month. It's got to be something big and that everybody can vote. We've done Cleveland stuff for 2 years. What about the best Cleveland restaurant? We've never done that. We've done food. We've done wings and pizza. But as far as like your favorite restaurant, could be anything, Italian, Mexican, Japanese, Chinese, whatever restaurant in Cleveland. Write that down for March.
I like that one.
We got to get on board with that too, because we got to get a sponsor on for that. That's like month long. It's a lot of stuff. So write that down. We'll get to that coming up in March, because March will be here before you know it. Like, we're going to snap our fingers when we get ready for March Madness. But nonetheless, here we are. Great stuff today. Appreciate everybody joining us. Do not forget, coming up 12 to 2 today, Nick Shook in with Chico, the beautiful bald break. Oh, no, I always throw beautiful. The bold bald breakdown for the Browns. They're going to do all that today from 12 to 1. And then, of course, Chico's on until 2. And then tonight, the return with Josh and Maria Cribbs. No Cavs tonight. They're back in action tomorrow. Kind of nice to maybe have a couple days off there for the wine and gold. And we'll gear things up for the Browns. I think, again, as I get ready for the rest of the week, I really am more focused on Amari and Miles. Like, the quarterback situation, and then go borderline remedy itself a little bit. You know exactly who your options are. My thing is Miles. Like, I want to put Sunday, I want to give him the pass. I do. And he's injured. And there are people that they say if you're good enough to get out there, you have to produce. And there are people that say that's excuse making for Myles Garrett. I would contend he's built up enough to get an excuse. I'm expecting better from Miles on Sunday. It's not his fault, and he's battling the shoulder injury. So I have optimism there. And I think maybe a question that we maybe do on tomorrow's show. Who's more important for the Browns to play on Sunday? Denzel Ward, Amari Cooper, or Myles Garrett? Is Myles Garrett the slam answer there? Is that the easy answer on that?
After the Rams game, I don't think it's a slam dunk anymore.
Because you saw, like...
I saw what happens when we don't have Denzel out there.
Yeah. And listen, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are good. And I know the corners kind of held up their own against those two from a statistical standpoint. You can't sleep on Zay Jones and Calvin Ridley. You can't. No. So you're facing, I don't want to say the same level as Puka and Kupp, but they're no, and imagine if they had Christian Kirk out there too. Yeah. Really being a pickle. But the Browns, Jags deserve every bit of their attention, and I think they're going to get it, but you got to keep on your P's and Q's to this game. They need some of these guys back. Without a doubt. All right, let's flip over to Tipico. Again, no Cavs game tonight. I've sworn off betting college basketball, Ryan. I really have.
That's okay.
Not feeling it?
It's not for the faint of heart.
No. You want to get some NBA action tonight?
Let's
Bucks Knicks. Bucks are -5. Lakers Suns in a marquee game tonight at 10 o'clock. You want to do a little boost here? Let's see what boost we have. Okay. Lakers. LeBron 30 and Anthony Davis 13 rebounds plus 245. I don't necessarily like that. You want to do a little boost tonight? Little semi-boost? Bucks Knicks, Lakers Suns. Take your pick. Lakers are favored by 1.5, Bucks by 5.5.
I'll take the Lakers. It's fitting LeBron would win the first ever season tournament.
Yeah, that's true. Knicks Bucks, give me a play. 229 the over/under. I kind of like the under there.
I haven't watched much.
I haven't watched much of it either.
Honestly.
I'll do a quick little parlay, little $5 parlay right there. I like it. Oh, they have these flex parlays now that you can pick. So, like, if I do a 2-leg parlay and I want both of them to win, that is plus 265. If I do a 2-leg parlay and I flex it, I only need one of those two to win. Now, my odds are minus 468. But that's fun, man. These flex parlays cooking up here on Tipico. Download the app, use the code BIGPLAY100, deposit and bet 25, get your $100 in bonus bets. That'll do it for us this morning. Chico coming up at 12 with the bold, butte, baldful breakdown, whatever it was that I just said. That's coming up at noon today with Chico, and Josh Marie Cribs tonight with the return. Great stuff this morning on a 2 for Tuesday. For Ryan Tyler, I am Matt Fontana. As always, take it easy.